Hi, I'm Declan, and in this video I'll be explaining to you the different types of piano tuition methods that are available and which method is best for which type of playing ability you are trying to achieve. Now, when I learned piano, which is many years ago when I was a child, basically there was one method you were offered. So every piano teacher that I was ever brought to just taught the same way, and that was notation, which is the dots on the piano music. You know, you have the lines going across and all the dots everywhere and hundreds of these dots, and it's an abstract language, and that was the only way. So even though I wanted to play pop music like what I could see people playing on TV, I wanted to be a Billy Joel or Blondie and all these kind of artists that I could see. Yet the teachers all taught me notation, and I had to learn classical music. And fortunately, times have changed quite a bit, because even though notation is an efficient method for learning complex classical music, fortunately now there is other methods that are being used which are far more suited to other types of music, such as popular music. So I learnt over many years through playing in bands and playing in studios and composing music and all different types of uses of music, especially parties when people want to shout out a tune and you have to instantly play it. So playing by ear, all these different things. I found that there are teaching methods that are far more efficient than notation. So instead of just the one method that is like the hardware shop only selling hammers, so it doesn't matter what job you've got to do, they can only sell you a hammer. Now, fortunately, there are other methods. Now, I break these down. There's three main different objectives that I find students generally have. Okay, so these are the tuition methods for music which is written down, okay, as opposed to playing by ear, which usually takes a bit longer. So I've got different courses on that. All I'm talking about here is music which is written down. So there's three main types of objective that students often have. Okay, so I break these down into what I call chords, and I'll explain in a minute what chords are. There's chords and melody, and then there is exact notes. So that's the notation. The old style method is what I call exact notes. Now, chords. Okay, I'll explain a bit about what chords are. So chords are several notes played at the same time which sound harmonious. So, for example, that's a chord, that's a chord, that's a chord. So those are all chords. And they are the building blocks of songs. And popular music uses an incredible, simple selection of chords. Often it's no more than 6 within any one song. And all songs then just use those 6 chords. Well, almost all songs in popular music just use a selection of chords from those 6. So once you learn the patterns of chords, it's very easy to play lots of songs very quickly. So the chords method is very useful if you want to sing and play. If you want to play along to recordings of famous artists, so just playing the music on your phone and just playing along with it. If you want to play in a band, or if you want to write songs, playing the chords method is really useful. Okay, so for example, I'll play just the chords method now. So so if we're doing, say, happy birthday, a person would sing along to it. So excuse my voice, but happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear, your name, happy birthday to you. So that's just playing chords. Okay, so the second objective might be if you, to play chords and melody. So melody is the part that a person would sing. So if you don't want to sing or nobody else is singing, and you just want to play an instrumental piece of music, then that would be playing chords, which is the accompaniment, and the melody, which is the part that person would sing. So playing Happy Birthday in the chords and melody instrumental style would be that type of style. So you're playing the part that people would sing. Okay, so that's the second type. And then the third type is the exact notes, which is where you have the notes are absolutely specified, and that's usually more the classical style. So those first two styles both use chords for the accompaniment, and you play the melody if you don't want to sing. Okay, so those are the three main types. So just going back to chords, chords are incredibly powerful. They allow you to do many, many things. So understanding that they are the building blocks of pop music, and there's very few of them make up pop songs, it then allows you to improvise. So you can start off from a very, very simple beginner's level, and you could just play. So the chords for Happy Birthday would just be so there's only 3 different chords there used in the whole of the Happy Birthday tune, and those chords then let you go from a very simple level like that to then you can play more advanced styles, but it is using the exact same notes. All you do is play those notes in different ranges on the keyboard, and you play different rhythms, but it's easy to go then from a beginner's level to a more advanced. And it's very easy to memorize tunes then, because you're only looking at a very small amount of things. And like I say, lots of popular tunes would only use 3 or 4 chords, sometimes in the entire tune. So very easy to read the instructions, because you're not reading every single note, you're just reading the chord, and then you learn how to play the chords. And then it's easy to memorize, and it's easy to improvise then as well. So it's easy to know which notes are okay for you to play, and then you can experiment and improvise. So it's much more fun playing that way than trying to learn every single individual note written down for you. So that's chords, and the melody again is incredibly simple in terms of most songs only use 7 notes of the standard scale. So that's like the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti scale. So that's incredibly simple. Why piano sometimes seems more complex than it is whilst the chords are very simple and the melody is simple, there's normally 6 or less chords used in songs, and there's 7 or less notes used in songs for the melody. Those songs then can start at any starting point on the keyboard. So there's lots of letters, and it can look very complicated. But these new methods, which I'll explain a bit more later in this video, make that process really, really simple. Okay, so the chords method also suits people that play guitar. So if you play guitar, you will already be familiar with chords, and so it's very quick then to move from playing chords on guitar to playing chords on keyboard. Okay, so for each of these 3 different types of playing, there are two playing styles which is the most appropriate based upon what you're trying to achieve. So let me take the chords playing style first. So as I said, this is brilliant for sing-along if you want to play at a party and either you sing or other people sing. It's ideal for that. It's great if you want to play along with your favourite tunes, if you want to be in a band or compose your own songs. So the first method that is the simplest for playing chords is what I call SingPlay. So this uses a numbers system. So the melody notes are numbered 1 to 7 and the chords are numbered 1 to 6, and it's incredibly quick. So for SingPlay we don't need the melody, so we just use the chords from 1 to 6. Really simple. The second, oh sorry, just before I go on that one, I was saying earlier that you can start any song from any point on the keyboard. So if you're playing, again, if you're playing sort of a song like Happy Birthday and it's either too, say it's too high for your voice, you want to drop it down a bit. If you have an electronic keyboard, then you can use the transpose button. So what transpose does is it moves the pitch higher or lower to save you having to move your hands higher or lower. The reason you would rather use the button than move your hands is if you move your hands to a different starting point on the keyboard when you start the song, you have to know the rules as to which black notes or white notes change then when you move your hands. Okay, so that's why it's easy just to learn it in one position and then make the keyboard do the work with the transpose button. So taking the example of Happy Birthday, so if say you're playing a tune and it's too high for your voice, then what you can do is use the transpose button to move it lower. So here's the tune. Okay, so I will use the transpose button. And if I want it higher, and I'm just playing the exact same notes there, so the keyboard is doing all of the work. So SingPlay is incredibly quick. If you have a transpose button on your electronic keyboard, you can play in any key to suit any voice. So that's really powerful. Now, what if you don't have a transpose button on your keyboard? What if you are playing an acoustic piano? Well, then you have to move your hands to a different starting point if you want the song to be a higher or a lower pitch. And then a different method is probably more suited to you if you want to be playing on an acoustic piano and singing along with it. So that's what I call ChordPlay. So instead of using the numbers system, it uses the letters system. Just exactly the same as guitar chord sheets. So you can basically go online, search for any song you want, see the guitar chords, and then immediately know how to play those on your piano. So that's called ChordPlay. So those are the two methods for playing chords. Okay. So the next type is if you want to play solo piano, which is chords and melody. So again, there's two types for that. So the fastest way to play chords and melody is what I call FastPlay. The clue's in the name there. So this is an incredibly quick way to play recognizable songs. This is aimed really at fairly quick progress for beginners through to intermediate level for people of all ages. Most people can understand how to read the song sheet within a few minutes and then start playing your first song to a reasonable level within a few minutes or certainly a few hours. As well as being applicable to all ages of people, it's brilliant for building confidence. If you're not sure whether you can play piano or not, if you think you might not be musical, this is a fantastic way. Within minutes, you will be amazed at what progress you can make, and that builds your confidence. And then lets you go on to to learn more advanced styles of playing. It's also, because it's so simple, it's brilliant for other groups of people that might find more advanced styles a bit challenging. So it's great for kids as young as 4 upwards, for elderly people, and for people with dyslexia, special learning needs. It's a whole host of people that might find other types of notation inaccessible. It's great. So that's FastPlay. The second method then for the melody and the chord style is ProPlay, which is the professional way of playing. So that is just the full, you want to play like Elton John, or that's how the professionals play. So that takes a bit more work, and it builds upon the FastPlay skills. So the third type of playing then is the exact notes type of playing. So this is really for things like classical music. Now there's 2 methods for this. The simplest method is what I call DotPlay, D-O-T, as in dots. So it takes the musical dots in normal notation and it translates them into numbers. Again, making the numbers really accessible, easy to read the song sheets. And that is suitable for the more simple to medium level complexity tunes. So this would be some of the more simple classical tunes, such as Für Elise by Beethoven. That's the one that goes something like this. That one. Moonlight Sonata, and then more modern composers, the Entertainer, that type of tune is ideal for DotPlay, and modern composers such as Einaudi, that's all suitable for DotPlay, where you need to know an exact, every note has to be exact, as opposed to the ChordPlay method that lets you improvise around a chord. So that's DotPlay. Now the second method within that is the traditional notation. So that is the method that was the only one that was ever offered to me as a child. So that's the full, every single note is a dot on a musical stave, and that's the slowest way to read. It doesn't teach you any of the patterns in the music. It doesn't enable you to improvise. It doesn't really help with playing by ear and all the other things. However, if you want to play really complicated music and you need to play every single individual note exactly as it's written, then notation is probably the most effective method for that style. So those are the 6 different types of methods which can help you play those different styles of playing. So just to explain then the numbers method, because you have a choice of learning by numbers or by letters. So what are the pros and cons of each? Well, the numbers method is the method which I use in most of the methods I teach. So FastPlay ProPlay, which are the solo piano ones, and then SingPlay, and then DotPlay. So those all use the numbers method. Now the advantage of the numbers is that it's very simple for people to be able to understand the song sheets. So where the notes are written as a number, anyone that can count up to 7 knows straight away which note to play. So it also lets you immediately transpose into a different key. So what I found very useful at a party, say if you're playing a tune, so again, let's just take the Happy Birthday example. Say that's too high or too low for people to sing. If I'm at a party and the whole room is singing along, then I can just, as opposed to this being my number 1, so that's chord 1, 1, 5, back to 1. Okay, so this is my note 1. All I do is change my starting position and go down the keyboard. So now I can choose this as my note 1. Okay, and then I can start. So I can instantly change the pitch of that tune. Now, if I've learnt the song in the numbers format, then the numbers don't change. All it changes is my hand position on the keyboard. If I had learnt that in letters, then every single letter changes. So so this would have been, these notes would be G, G, A, G, C, B. Whereas if I change it down here, it's D, D, E, D, G, F sharp. So it's much harder to actually instantly transpose if you've learnt a tune by letters rather than if you've learnt it by numbers. The other advantage of the numbers is it helps you learn the playing by ear skills, and that's where you can just hear a tune and instantly know how to play it. And again, I've got more videos explaining the playing by ear thing. It's a bit more complex than what I need to cover in this particular video, but the numbers method massively helps playing by ear as opposed to learning by letters. So just to explain then, the letters do have a purpose. If you've learned the numbers method and you want to and are happy to spend a lot more time and effort to learn all the other chord shapes rather than just use the transpose button, say, on a keyboard, then you could learn all the different chords and manually change your hand rather than using the transpose button. Or if you're playing an acoustic piano, you would need to learn those different shapes. So that's when the letters come in. They can be useful just to read straight from guitar chords, and you learn every single chord. You could learn, you know, an F sharp and a C sharp and a D and a E flat. So there's a lot of stuff to learn. But if you're happy to put the time and effort into that, fine. That's when the letters can be useful. As I say, if you have a transpose button on your keyboard, there is no need to do that. You can save yourself a lot of time and effort by not doing that, and spend that time that you've saved by just improving your playing style and learning improvisation and the full professional way of playing. So I hope that's given you more insight over the 3 different types of playing objectives, and then the 2 types of methods by which you can learn each of those 3 objectives. So the 6 different methods in total. And I think it's really important to understand that, so that when you choose which method is right for you, it gets you straight to the objective you're trying to do and doesn't waste time learning things which you don't need to learn.